Hello everybody and welcome back to Blanche Case Fitness. It's Tuesday and you know what that means? It's time for Perpetual Motion, the class where we never stop moving. And yeah, I'm out of breath a little bit because I was running up and down my stairs in a panic because I'd forgotten to bring various things up from the basement. So I already started my workout a little bit early, but hello everyone. Sorry I'm getting kicked off slightly later than I like to. I have finally reached the sourdough starter phase of quarantine, only about a year late or so, and so I had to feed my my two starters. I think this week is going to be the week when I get to actually bake something with them for the first time. So that's super exciting. And no, I did not start with two. I started with one, and it got to the place where it was time to divide it. So now I have two starters, which is very exciting. I have no idea what to do with them, but that's okay because I have plenty of friends with plenty of sourdough recipes for me to take advantage of. So yes, be prepared for Instagram posts around baking at some point this week because I have a feeling I will be very excited when I bake the first thing, and fingers crossed it turns out well. So it's fascinating though. I never knew that sourdough starters were so easy to start up. Like it sounds like such an intensive thing, and it's literally just mixing flour and like room temp to slightly warmish water together. That's really all it is, which is just wild to me. And you just, you make sure to feed them. So it's kind of like having a pet, which is also kind of funny, but a pet you can bake with. Yeah, that came off weird, but hey. So that has been quite fun to get to sort of experience this science project in my life. So yeah, just wanted to make sure I got them fed before I started class, because otherwise it would be a little late. I hope everyone is keeping safe. There's supposed to be massive amounts of snow over the next few days here in Colorado. So everybody is sort of getting prepped for that. And like, when I say massive, I mean there's the possibility that we're going to get multiple feet of snow. Not tomorrow, I think, but Thursday? Something like that. Somewhere around there. So yeah, that will be an adventure. So thankfully, I bake now. So I can take care of feeding myself. But yeah, so if you live in Colorado, particularly Boulder, Denver, foothills area, please make sure that you have all of the staples that you need for keeping yourself safe, warm, fed, hydrated, all that fun stuff. Because yeah, we're gonna get hit with snow. Yeah, I think we're gonna kick off because I was running a little late, and also I have to make sure to be done with the stream by 7. So hey, if this is your first time, welcome to Blanche Case Fitness. So the Perpetual Motion stream is slightly different from the rest of our streams, where it is quite literally a class where we never stop moving. So normally we would do a workout interval, and it would end, and the last horn of the timer would go off, and you'd go, all right, cool, now I get to stand around, drink some water, and chill. In today's class, whenever that final timer goes off, you go into our active rest exercise, which is cross jacks for this class, and I'll demonstrate that when we get there. So from the time that we start the warm-up to the very end of class, you do not stop moving. So if this is your first time, then I want you to focus on the bare minimum, starting on time, stopping on time, and doing the exercise correctly. If you just focus on those 3 things, you will get more than enough of a workout, all right? So concentrate on being able to continue moving the whole time. Don't feel the need to charge right out of the gate, trying to go for maximum power, maximum speed and intensity, or you're going to make yourself miserable and you're not going to want to come back to class. And that would suck for both of us. All right. Let's do our pre-class checklist, my dears. So we've got our water in whatever vessel you are using. I've got my trusty mason jar, which is just, it has become my staple for this class. And you know what? I really like it. That's the nice thing about working out at home, is that you don't need to have a water bottle. You don't need to have something that's closed off, because I'm just in my house. I know everybody who's going through this space, and it's just me. So I can leave it on the floor and not worry about it. You, however, should make sure that your water is placed somewhere where you can easily reach it, pick it up, and put it back down from a standing position, because cross jacks are a standing position. You're not going to have an opportunity to like lean over and pull something up off the floor. So put your water in an appropriate place right now while you're thinking about it. So you've got your water, you've got your comfy clothes, whatever that means to you. You've got your mat or mat-sized space on the floor. And if you use a fitness wearable, now is the time to turn it on to a high-intensity interval training setting. If you don't worry about it. Definitely not a requirement, just something that I use, so I like to remind myself and figure that other people could also use the reminder sometimes. So, all right. Well, I'd say it's time to get going, my friends. Holy crow. So let's start with our warm-up. And if this is your first time, we do the same warm-up for all of my streams right now, which is awesome because it means that you can come to any of the rest of the classes and you will be able to follow the warm-up because it'll be the same thing. So remember, once we start moving, we don't stop moving for the rest of class. So you need to manage your energy accordingly. Whoa, big stretch. Oh yeah, there we go, we're ready. So, on our mats, on our backs, 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee. And as soon as that timer goes off, we will begin with hip rocks and bridges. All right. Hi-ya. So, hip rocks and bridges, just kicking ourselves off in the warm-up. So we're getting an opportunity to engage our cores. That helps to pull our hips up into the air. And then going in the opposite direction, getting that nice bridge position. Remember, when you put the foot down to go up into the bridge, you want to come up onto the ball of your foot and then bridge all the way up. All right. And remember too, this is the warm-up. So even if this wasn't our perpetual motion class, we would still want to focus on ramping up, all right? We never want to come out of the gate at the beginning of any of our classes going, all right, I'm going for maximum, I'm going for 120% right now. No, you don't want to do that. You want to start slow, start small, and all right, switch feet. The warm-up itself, the structure of the warm-up, the placement of the exercises is going to ramp you up slowly and naturally. But here's the thing. One of the purposes of the warm-up is to start booting up all of the systems that we need for class. So getting our bodies and our brains ready for exercise. And one of those components is turning on and kicking up the energy production systems that we have so that they can start breaking down some of those stores into usable fuel sources. Because we don't just have fuel sources floating around in our bodies ready to be burned at the drop of a hat. We store it in a different form, and then once our body's like, oh, I need some of this, it goes in and it starts up those systems. All right, leg section, first exercise of 3 on this side are Jane Fonda's. So if we're going in and we're trying to, you know, leap out of the gate with maximum intensity and energy usage, we are going to be burning our energy faster than our muscle fibers can build it back up. And so you're going to get through the warm-up, sure, and then you're going to be miserable for the remaining 45 minutes of class. So always remember that we are not looking for maximum overdrive here in the warm-up, all right? So here in our Jane Fondas, we're trying to keep a nice straight line of the body while we're in this balanced position. If you have trouble with that, you can use the long edge of your mat to sort of set yourself up against. All right, staying on this side, take that top foot, put it flat on the floor in front of the bottom knee, and we start lifting that bottom leg. One of the things that we're gonna have to do in this position is pay attention to where our knee is. We want that knee pulled back, going straight up and down, so that if I was standing on this leg and did a squat, the knee would be able to push directly forward over the foot, okay? So we don't want it to be caving forward. How easy this is going to depend on the flexibility you already have in your hip. So for this side, I can just sort of set my leg here, and I don't really have to do anything special to keep it in this position. But we will talk more on the other side about what happens when that's not the case. Alrighty? But for now, we're going to finish this one up. Then third and final exercise on this side, we take that top foot, we put it flat on the floor behind the bottom knee, and we're still just lifting that bottom leg. So the bottom leg didn't change anything about what it was doing. We just moved the position of this knee. And this is, I basically call this our beach pose, because this is the easiest position for us to maintain during this. You know, we're not worried about the balance like we are in the Jane Fondas. We've got this leg pulled back in a much more comfortable position, so regardless of your hip flexibility, you're not really worried about that knee caving in any direction. You're not worried about your hips rolling backwards or forwards. So you can really just focus in on the working leg and on getting to know what it feels like when those different muscle groups are engaging and moving a limb through space. All right, now over to the other side, same 3 exercises, okay? So starting with Jane. And Jane is one where one of the ways that we can make sure that we're in that nice straight line, you want to make sure that you're engaging your glute on the working leg while you're lifting the leg. So there can be a tendency for that leg to sort of go forward as we lift it, and we don't want to do that. But there's a reason why I say engage and not like pull the leg backwards. I don't want you to be pulling the leg backwards, because then you're overcorrecting, then it's going way behind you, which is not what we're trying to do. Really, if you just try and basically clench your butt cheek on that side, that will be enough engagement to help keep that leg in line with the rest of your body. All right, now top foot in front of that bottom knee, lifting that bottom leg. So on this side, you can see that my right hip is not as flexible as my left hip. And so this knee has a tendency to try and cave forward. So I have to engage the muscles in the back of that hip joint to pull the knee up and backwards and maintain it in that position. And the nice thing about this exercise is it's low stakes. You know, if your knee's caving forward a little bit, it's not the end of the world. We're not putting any standing pressure on this leg. You're not really going to mess up your knee. However, that also means that this is the perfect time to practice that form so that when you are in a position where it is more important to maintain that positioning, you already know how that feels. All right? Okay, beach pose, second side. This is the last exercise in our leg sequence. So just chilling, you know, dreaming of a day when I might actually make it back to a beach. Who knows when that'll be, but someday, I suppose. And just envisioning ourselves chilling on a beach towel and relaxing. You know, I'm not like a huge ongoing beach person, but I do find myself very much missing the ocean right now. It has been several years, I think, since I have been to a beach or, you know, right up in the ocean, and I miss it a lot more than I thought I would. Go figure. All right, so now we are moving into the section of the warm-up where we wake up our backs and our hips. So starting with our scorpion twists, we plant those forearms firmly on the ground, then one leg at a time, just get swung back behind us, trying to get that foot flat on the floor, trying to get that knee pointing up towards the ceiling, and then we go to the other side. However, this is really important. Your elbows, your forearms should always be planted on the ground, okay? We're not lifting them up to try and get a little farther into the twist. So if you can make it here with your forearms still planted on the ground, awesome. But if you can't make it there without letting your elbow come up, then you can't make it there yet, and that's fine. That's totally fine. You get to work up to that position. All right. Now we stand. We take an imaginary PVC pipe in our hands, holding it above our heads, and we just start doing these nice, big torso rotations. I want you to change directions every 2 rotations so that you're evening yourself out, because we're only doing this for 1 timer interval. So we're not going to do one side and then the other. So you want to make sure that you are evening yourself out so that you don't have one side that's super strong and the other side going, what the hell, man? And remember that we are generating the circle from our hips, okay? So I'm not moving my arms. They're staying in the same place the whole time. I'm bending over at the hips, letting the top of my back go a little bit when I get down to the bottom, but mostly just moving from the hips. All right, our first chance to try some squats. Still holding that imaginary pipe above our heads, checking in on that knee form, okay? So everything we talked about during the leg sequence in terms of making sure that those knees are pointing straight over the feet, that is now being put into practice. So if you feel your knees trying to cave in towards one another at any point during this, then you probably need to narrow your stance a little bit, okay? And practice here and go, okay, cool, I can maintain that form here. And so I will stay here for as long as I need to, as many classes as I need to. And then once I feel a little stronger, I can go back to that wider position. All right, now we start doing our Samson stretches. So this is basically a giant lunge, keeping that back leg extended straight. So it's not a double bent leg lunge, all righty? And we're really stretching into the front of the hip flexor and getting that nice and warmed up, because let me tell you, if you sit at a desk all day or if you stand relatively still all day, then that is not an area getting a lot of work. So we like to stretch it out, just raising those arms straight up towards the ceiling and making sure that the hips are not trying to open up. The hips are pointing straight out in front of us, no matter where we are in the position. Okay. Now we take this nice wide squat position, hands on our knees, to keep them safely over the feet. And we're just twisting one shoulder at a time in towards the midline, okay? So one shoulder comes in, then it goes out, the other shoulder comes in. Our shoulders are the only things moving here, all right? So we're not bouncing up and down out of the squat position. We're not letting our knees try and cave in, chase after our shoulders. We are just holding this position and getting that nice twist in the top of our spine. So we got the bottom and the mid spine with the scorpion twists, and now we're getting the top of the spine with these shoulder twists. And once this is done, we move into the last section of the warm-up, which is our cardio. So we start out with jumping jacks. And again, I always like to take this opportunity to remind you that this is still the warm-up. So even though we have reached a point where we're doing a more active exercise, we're still not at 100% energy output, all right? So you see that I'm doing kind of bare minimum jumping jacks. I'm not jumping my feet super far apart. I'm keeping my elbows really bent, just sort of tapping my fingertips right above my head, barely above my head. So I'm not here to ramp all the way up all of a sudden. We're still finishing the boot up sequence, and this is our opportunity to get the cardiovascular system truly online for the rest of class. All right. Kick-throughs. Woo! If you are new to kick-throughs, take this slowly but surely. One hand on the ground, shoulder directly over wrist. Opposite foot on the ground, knee pointing up towards the ceiling, 90-degree angle. Kick the remaining leg across your body. Then bring your other arm down to meet. Switch sides and back and forth and back and forth. All right? There are a lot of components in there, so take it slow. You don't have to add that hop into the center if this is your first time. You can sort of meet in the center, switch sides, and then go. All right? So make sure that you understand all of the components and how they go together before trying to really ramp that up. All right. Last but not least, we have burpees. A wave push-up is what we're doing here. So we jump out to a plank, and then we do a wave push-up. And then that nice big victory clap at the very top. Now, remember, when we get to the end of the warm-up, we don't get to stop moving. Well, I do, because I'm the teacher. But you will need to go into cross jacks, which I will demonstrate as soon as we've finished out our burpees. Nice big victory claps, nice powerful wave push-ups, and all right, so cross jacks, basically a cousin of the jumping jack. So jump your feet out, jump them in, one foot crossed in front of the other, out, switch feet. Same thing with the arms, out, cross, cross. If you need to modify, you can just kick the feet forward while doing the arms, or you can just do this side-to-side run, but make sure that you are moving the whole time, regardless of which modification you choose. All right. Woo! Ooh, let's get some water. Remember, just because you're moving the whole time does not mean you're not also drinking water. It just means that you have to be a little bit cautious about about drinking, which is fine. If you've ever run a road race of any particular length, then you know the uncomfortable sensation of learning how to drink liquid while bouncing up and down and also still trying to use your respiratory system. So if you can do it there, you can totally do it here. All right. We are going to do sort of a back and forth between our Simon Says sets and our freer AMRAP sets, okay? So I'm gonna set up 3 exercises for us. And the first time through, we're gonna do them with a Simon Says round, where I'm telling you when to switch from exercise to exercise. Second time through, we're gonna do them with an AMRAP round, so you get to choose when you transition from one thing to the next, all right? So, our 3 exercises are going to be, for this round anyway, we're going to do a nice sort of combination squat stretch. So we're going to squat down and then reach one foot out to the side and arm out to the other side, and then down and switch. So we're not really coming out of the squat too much. There's always a bend in that standing knee. Here, in this final position, you should feel your muscles really stretched up and stretched down and away from you, all right? And we're just going back and forth and back and forth, all righty? So that's exercise 1. Exercise 2 is going to be our turtle planks. So rock up onto your shoulders, up onto your feet, plant those hands, jump back to the plank, and then jump forward and repeat. So it's going to feel a little weird, like your momentum is getting arrested when you jump back into the plank. So keep that in mind. And then our third exercise is just going to be skips. So skipping in place here on the mat, alrighty? And yeah, they're kind of self-explanatory. Try and stay in the same position on the mat the whole time. We're not moving around a lot, all right? So we've got our squat stretches, we've got our turtle planks, and we've got our skips. So everybody, you should be cross-checking on your mat. And for this set, the Simon Says set, sometimes I will tell you to go back to cross-checks for a little bit of an active rest, all right? So just keep that in mind, ready for me to tell you when to go and what to do. All right, let's start with the squat stretches. Here we go. All right, you're off and away. And remember, we're keeping that nice squat position, so there should always be at least some bend in that standing leg. All righty? And you can probably go for a little bit more speed in this. All right? Really get in those reps. All right, now for skips. Please give me some skips. Ooh, she went out of order. Yes, yes I did. All right, so you are skipping away, my friends, skipping away without a care in the world. You are Julie Andrews in the middle of a beautiful field in Switzerland. And now we want to do turtle planks. All right, turtle planks. So remember that it's not a turtle wave, so you're not actually doing a push-up once you jump back to that plank. You're just getting into the plank position and then kicking those feet forward. Now, you may need to modify how you get up onto the feet by pushing up with a hand or even letting the knee come down and pushing up that way. That's all right. Those are okay modifications. All right, give me some cross jacks, just a little bit of a rest. Rest. We're still moving, but it's okay. All right, so you are cross-checking away. All right, and now let's take it up a notch to skips again, please. Skips for me. Yeah, here we are, skipping away. So We don't really have a ton of form notes for skips, but as with most things, checking in on that core, making sure it's engaged is going to really help you out. The lower abdominals actually contribute very heavily to helping to pull that knee up, all right? And just having the overall core active and stabilized keeps your limbs from going in unexpected directions that make the exercise harder. All right, back to those squat stretches, please. Squat stretches, all right? Here we are. Yeah. And we're just stretching up, okay? I'm not reaching forward. My shoulders should be in line with one another. My chest facing forward, okay? So I'm staying in this plane, basically, okay? And really just enjoying that nice movement back and forth. I'm getting weird twinges in my knees today. That's annoying. Stop it. All right. And now turtle planks, please. Turtle planks for me. Yeah. Rocking back onto the shoulders, up onto those feet. So, yes, you have those modifications that you can use. I recommend working over time towards being able to rock directly up onto the feet if you can. Because with all of the turtle exercises, momentum is such a huge part of them. And when you use the modifications, you stop your momentum a little bit, and that can make the rest of the exercise more difficult. All right, so just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind for me. All right, back to cross jacks really quickly. Back to cross jacks, my friends. You are doing such a great job. Such a wonderful job. Oh my goodness. Yeah, moving along. It's weird to have all of the power taken away so you don't even know when I'm going to tell you to go to the next exercise. This is the most powerless you will ever be in this class, basically. All right, now back to turtle planks, please. Back to turtle planks. I know you want to do that push-up. Don't do it. When you rock into that plank position, I want you to make sure that your shoulders are directly over those wrists. All right, you've got that nice straight long line of the body, okay? And then you just jump those feet back forward. Really stabilizing those shoulders. Something that we love to focus on. All right, now give me those squat stretches, please. Squat stretches, going back and forth. Yeah, you can have your hand extended or you can have a fist. I've been sort of punching the air up there. That's fine if you need to get that extra aggression out. Totally fine. All right, let's finish off. Last 15 seconds. Skips, please. Big ol' skips. Staying in one spot on the mat. Just skipping through that meadow. I know it's night out for most of us, but still. All right, so close. And back to cross jacks. There we are. All right, so this is our resting cross jack, so feel free to grab some water during this. All righty. Yeah. Yeah, the Simon Says intervals are always really, really interesting because you don't realize how many control points you do have until they get taken away. And there's sort of two ways to do that. So we have the Simon Says ones where I tell you when to switch from exercise to exercise, and there's not a rhyme or reason to it other than my determination based on how much time has passed. We've also got the sets where you know exactly what the exercises are and you know exactly when you're going to switch, but you have to stick to a very specific rhythm that I give you the whole time. And that's also a really weird experience. So yeah, just sometimes it's good to test these things out and get a little bit more used to that flexibility. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna set a 5-minute timer, and you are gonna be able to just go through all 3 of those exercises, just cycle through them at your own pace, which is awesome. So again, the squat stretches, again, the turtle planks, again, the skips. You have to do all 3 of them. You have to keep moving the whole time, obviously. But other than that, you will be in control. And then when the timer ends, we go back to the cross tracks as usual. So, everybody's cross-tracking away on their mats. And as soon as you hear the timer go, you can begin with your squat stretches, all right? So there we go. So at the beginning of class, I talked about starting on time, stopping on time, and doing the exercise correctly. Starting and stopping on time is a little more complicated in a perpetual motion class because we're not actually stopping. And so, whereas when we're doing a tabata, we can stop when the timer tells us to stop and then go, all right, cool. Now I have time to get into position and get prepped for the next exercise. With perpetual motion, we are always moving directly from the exercise we're currently doing into the exercise that we need to start doing next. So, starting on time for this class, and for any time that we do a perpetual motion timer, becomes how do I minimize that transition time between what I'm currently doing and what I need to do next, all right? And that can be easier or harder depending on a lot of factors, mostly depending on what the exercise is that I'm currently doing versus that I need to get into. So, as an example, this exercise has a pretty contained range of motion. At any given point, I'm in the same place on the mat. My limbs are moving, but they're not moving, wildly out in any direction. And so I can gauge pretty easily approximately where I will be in the exercise at any point. And that's fine. I don't have a lot of different possibilities for where I will be when I decide, okay, time to transition into turtle planks. Hey, we're halfway through. But with something like turtle planks, I could be in a range of positions. I could be rocked up here on my shoulders, up on my feet, or all the way back in this plank position. And I need to figure out how to get into the next exercise from any of those places, okay? I'm realizing that I totally forgot to go back into my squat stretches. My apologies for anyone who was confused, but the point still stands that when you're doing turtle planks, there is a wide range of places that I could be. Now for an AMRAP set, it's easier because you control when you're moving from one exercise to the other. So you don't really have to worry about the fact that you could be pointing in two opposite directions because you can just go, all right, cool, I'm done there, and now I'm going, and that's fine. It comes more into play when we're doing actual perpetual motion sets with defined work intervals where you're like, okay, I'm doing this exercise for 45 seconds, and then that timer goes off, and I have to be able to move into the next exercise, all right? So that's where it starts to play around and get a little funky. And it's a good thing to think about regardless. Obviously, it's less important here in this particular set, but it is something for us to always keep in mind, particularly if you're new to this class structure or new to my classes in general. All right, so something to think about as we head into the last 10 seconds of this timer. And then we're gonna go back into those cross jacks and chill. There you are. Back into the cross jacks, my friends. All right. Woo! Make sure you're getting water, okay? Super important to have that water. There we go. Woo! All right. Hi, friends. How's everybody doing? All right. We are going to do another set of these. So, 3 more exercises. And same thing. First we'll do Simon Says, then we'll do an AMRAP set. Okay? So, our exercises for this are going to be a little more traditional, I think. So we're going to do some mountain climbers. So up in that plank position, shoulders directly over wrists, butts out of the air. And we maintain that even as we're driving one knee at a time up to the chest, okay? So we've got mountain climbers. Then let's get some shrimps in on the action. So if you haven't mastered shrimps yet, you can just keep the boat rock position, so making sure to engage and contract your core so that you have that rounded lower back. But if you're game to try the shrimps, then we are moving back and forth along our mats. First, rocking shoulders, then hips, shoulders, then hips, shoulders, then hips. Oh look, I hit the end of the mat. Now I go back the way I came. All right, so mountain climbers, then shrimps, then we're gonna do some flying chickens, because y'all know that I love flying chickens. So thumbs at chest height. If you wear a bra, you can hook your thumbs behind your bra straps. We bring the feet out in the air and then land them exactly back where they started, and our elbows are just flapping up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, just like that. All right. Everybody is cross-tracking away on their mats. Our 3 exercises are mountain climbers, shrimps, and flying chickens. So let's get started with mountain climbers. All right. So down on your mats doing those mountain climbers. Remember, if you start to feel your butt coming up into the air, that also means you're pushing your shoulders back from where you should be. Push the butt down, and that should reset the whole thing, okay? But this is an exercise where we really need to stabilize our shoulders. All right, now give me some shrimps, please. Give me some shrimps. Yeah. Moving back and forth. Again, if you haven't done shrimps before and are having difficulty putting all of the components together, really do just stay in the boat rock and visualize in this tiny boat rock that every time your shoulders come up off the ground, you want to move them to the side, and every time your hips come up off the ground, you want to move them to the side. All right? So that can be something you focus on. All right, flying chickens now. Flying chickens, my friends. So up, we're doing something a little more cardio, a little bit more intensive. You are now no longer in the middle of the Swiss Alps. You are now the most majestic of barnyard fowl, and just enjoying your jaunt through your farmlands, which, you know what, farmlands can be pretty beautiful too. So I wouldn't mind having a jaunt through farmlands. And now just go back to those cross jacks for a second. Just go back to those cross jacks. Let's chill. Let's relax. Let's get that active rest and really try and emphasize the rest in active rest. We want to practice that. All right, right, back to those flying chickens, please. Back to those flying chickens. Again, not an exercise with a ton of form notes, but check in on that core. That core will help to control all of the limbs, because you've got all of your limbs are moving, and you do want to move them relatively in tandem, and you want them to be able to snap back to the center position, okay? All right, and now give me some mountain climbers, please. Mountain climbers for me. Yeah, mountain climbers are an exercise that really highlights how our shoulder strength and stability is. And let me tell you, it took me decades to get to a place where that exercise did not feel torturous. And it wasn't until I started actively strengthening my shoulders that I got there. So if that's something you're feeling, don't worry. That is so normal. We don't do a good job of training people to strengthen and stabilize their shoulders. All right, now back to those shrimps, please. Back to those shrimps. Enjoying our jaunt, tramps, as I usually like to say them. I can't honestly remember if Eleanor Shellstrop ever said the word shrimp like that in The Good Place, but boy do I associate it with her. So that's, no matter whether that's an actual quote or not, that is absolutely what I am referencing in those moments. All right, give me those cross jacks again. Give me those cross jacks, my friends. Nice and relaxed. All right. And now give me shrimps, please. Give me some more shrimps. Yeah. So really checking in. How's that core engagement? Your core should be driving the movement of every part of this exercise, all right? Your core is pushing your shoulders to the side and then pushing your hips to the side as well. You should feel a lot of engagement along the obliques in particular, as you're getting that nice twist and bend, okay? All right, now please give me some flying chickens, flying chickens. Yeah. As if you're about to take flight, a full foot off the ground for a full 20 seconds. I think chickens can fly a little bit, but I don't think they can fly for a super long amount of time. And that's probably our fault because, you know, we like to breed things within an inch of their lives. All right, to finish off, let's do mountain climbers. All right, just checking in there, really focusing on stabilizing those shoulders, making sure those butts are staying out of the air, keeping that nice flat back position, even though you're moving, even though you're driving your knees up to your chest, and back to cross jacks. There you are. It's rest time. Rest time for real. Yeah, rest time for real. So, make sure to get a little water in there, my friends. Oh, yeah. We like having water. We like having water very much. Water keeps us alive. Thanks, water. We appreciate all that you do. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it is. It's going to be very snowy over the next few days unless I miss my guess, which is just like one of the things I love about Colorado is that it can legitimately go from almost 70-degree weather to snowing within just a couple of days. It's absolutely wild, but yes, make sure that you are packaging yourselves up, getting all of the supplies that you need, checking on your heat and all that jazz. All very important stuff we don't want to be without when it's snowing a bunch of feet and probably going to be difficult for anyone to get anywhere. Of all the years to not put snow tires on the car. Oh well. All right, my friends. So same 3 exercises, but you control your movement through them. All right. Mountain climbers, shrimps, flying chickens. Same 3, but now you get to run the show. Well, partially anyway. All right, so You're cross-jacking away. Keep doing it, don't stop. And as soon as that horn goes off, we will get started. And from there, you are in charge. All right, so yeah, you want to make sure that you are checking in on keeping that back flat, keeping those shoulders over the wrists the whole time. If you're keeping the shoulders over the wrists, that's going to keep your butt out of the air. If you are having any wrist issues, which some people do and some people do consistently, some people do only sometimes, like me, you can do your mountain climbers from your knuckles, basically. Make a closed fist and hold. That will hold your wrists nice and straight. You can also use dumbbells basically as push-up handles. So if you have dumbbells, you just put them there and you have your hands on them. It's not going to keep your wrists as straight as going from the knuckles, but going from the knuckles is also kind of uncomfortable on your hands. So either way is a good modification if you have any wrist issues. And obviously carpal tunnel is a much more common thing these days, and you know, lots of random reasons why our wrists may not like being hyperflexed. So yeah, always, for basically anything that we do that requires that flat hand on the ground like that, so push-ups, side-to-side planks, mountain climbers, you know, turtle planks, turtle waves, burpees. For any of those, if you have wrist issues, you are more than welcome to modify and do the exercise from the fists or using handles of some kind. All right, so always remember that. Okay, and if I forget to tell you, that does not mean that it's not an option. Okay, this is why we talk about how important it is, all right, halfway through, how important it is that you learn about your own injury map and injury history, and you learn what modifications to different types of exercises that you may need to make to mitigate the effects of an injury, okay? Or of just a chronic condition. And if a teacher ever tells you that you can't do that, get out of that class right now, okay? There's a difference between saying, you know, I know you prefer doing plank push-ups, but today we're doing wave push-ups, and I know that you have a wrist injury, but I'm insisting that you do your push-ups with a flat hand against the floor, okay? So when I tell you things, when I'm like, yeah, I know you really want to do those plank push-ups, but that's not the exercise. That is not me saying, and also you can't do the modification that's going to make this safer on your wrist, all right? So learn the modifications that you need to make things safer, and then utilize them. Whether or not I remember to tell you that you can. If you ever have questions about it, throw them in the chat, obviously, and I will answer them. You know, but sometimes I forget, you know, sometimes I forget to specifically call it out, and I want you to always know that you get to make those modifications. So if you have wrist issues, always know that doing things from a fist or from a handle is totally fine. If you have shoulder issues, then pay attention to what arm positions, maybe too much range of motion, okay? All right, back to those cross checks, my friends. Oh, woo! All righty. We're doing so good. Doing so good. All right. Oh, okay. We are going to do one last work interval, and it's going to be perpetual motion. And we're just going to have 2 exercises and go back and forth between them, all right? And then I think we will finish out with some calf awareness, because who would I be if I didn't do calf awareness with my Tuesday class? I know how you love it. All right, so 30-second work intervals. Again, it's a perpetual motion set, so no rest intervals. And we're gonna do toe squats, so taking the feet hip width apart, keeping the core engaged, keeping the back as straight up and down as possible, starting to squat, letting the heels come up when you can't go any farther without them, coming all the way down here, and then standing back up, all right? And just going down and up and down and up. And then second exercise is just gonna be our fake jump rope, okay? If you have a real jump rope, feel free to use it. But if you don't, not necessary. Hold your hands out as if you're holding the end of the jump rope, and we're just going to mimic the activity. All right, so turtle squats and jump ropes, 30 seconds, training intervals, 8 times through. We're just going back and forth between the 2 exercises. So you'll do each one 4 times. All right, and you're cross-checking, you're getting ready. As soon as you hear that horn, you begin with toe squats. All right, and remember how important the core engagement is, okay? Because we want to make sure that we are not forcing the foot and ankle to do a lot of unhealthy corrections to maintain that balance once we get down to the bottom position, okay? So really making sure that your core is engaged the whole time. All right, now we're doing our imaginary jump rope. Gotta love it because you know what? We don't have to worry about hitting our toes with the jump rope, which is always really irritating when you're like, I was just getting into the groove, and then I whacked myself on the toes with my jump rope. All right, and then back into our toe squats. Make sure you are breathing. Make sure you are controlling the movement the whole time. We never are letting gravity take over the exercise, okay? Obviously, less relevant here, but it's a big thing for our toe squats, okay? It can be incredibly tempting to be like, okay, well, gravity wants to help, and I want its help, so I'm just gonna sort of slam down to the bottom position, but that is gonna be so bad for your knees. So you need to make sure that no matter what, you are controlling every part of this sequence and never letting the muscles let go completely. So if you notice that you're bouncing down at the bottom, then you know that you're letting go of the muscles and letting gravity take over, all right? So that's the hint, basically. So definitely make sure to check in on that. And if you're feeling that bouncing, you may also be feeling a little bit of pain in the knees, which we don't want. All right, last set for both of these. You will go back into cross jacks as soon as we're done, but just so that I can set up the timer for our calf awareness. All right, so not too much longer before we get to cool down and take it easy. All right, finishing off our last set of jump ropes. Feeling really proud because we're still moving and we're gonna keep moving. My mat is turning in a circle and that's okay. As soon as that horn goes off, we just do cross jacks or any of the modifications. So just doing that while I get the timer ready and turn my mat back around. All right, as soon as you hear the horn go off, you're balancing flat on one foot. There we go. Whew, okay. So first, let's just breathe, center, go. All right, here we are. We are not moving around, not jumping around. We can bring that breath rate down. We can bring that heart rate down. And now, let's focus on the balance itself. So we want to guide any micro adjustments that we need to make to maintain the balance using our foot and our ankle only. So how do we do that without falling all over the place? Well, we start with our stabilizing muscle groups. So again, starting with our dear friends, the abdominals. All right, switch sides. And getting them engaged engages everything in the torso. Makes that one nice continuous line. Then we engage the glute on the working leg, and that ties everything together from the hips up. Same when we engage the quad. So now everything from the knee up is one solid piece that the ankle can manage much more easily than a bunch of disparate limbs, all right? Nice, big breaths, nice and stable, not wobbling around. You may find that you're better at balance on one side than the other. That's totally normal. When the timer goes off, we go back to that first side, but now we will be balancing up on the ball of the foot. So ramping that challenge rating up a fair bit, all right? So everything that I said for the first side still applies, but I recognize that this is much more challenging to maintain, particularly if you, like me, are on a surface with a lot of added give, okay? So these puzzle pieces are a good inch thick and a very flexible material. So it's a lot harder to balance on them than it is to balance on a flat floor or on, you know, just a very thin yoga mat on a flat floor, all right? So if you're struggling with that, obviously you can see that I am too. So don't worry about it. Just do your best. All right, other side. And when you do feel like you're going to fall out of the balance, don't just let yourself fall out, okay? I want you to go, okay, I'm gonna fall. I don't think I can maintain this. I'm gonna bring that heel down. I'm gonna shift position, and I'm gonna reset and go from there. So I'm still controlling the motion. You see me moving around a lot on my mat. It's just because, again, I'm trying to find flatter, less compressed areas of these puzzle pieces to make the balance a little bit easier. Whether it actually helps is up for debate, but no harm in trying. All right, when the timer goes off again, back to that first side, and now we're going up on the ball of the foot and then rocking back onto the heel, okay? So up on the ball, back on the heel, up on the ball, back on the heel, and we just go back and forth on that one leg, up on the ball, back on the heel. Again, check in on those stabilizers. I bet you forgot about them, huh? Was that core engaged? Because let me tell you, having the core engaged makes this a lot easier, allows us to really focus in on the balance and not be worried that we're going to be wobbling all over the place. So really check in, make sure your core is still a part of the exercise, okay? Woo! All right, other side. Up on the ball, back on the heel. Up on the ball, back on the heel. I alluded to this super briefly a few minutes ago, but you have probably figured out at this point that one side is likely better at balancing than the other side, and that's fine. Just learn about that so that you know which side you really have to pay more focused attention to. And know that just because one side is typically better than the other doesn't mean that's always going to be the case. All right, when we finish up, last timer, both feet on the floor, rocking up onto the heels and staying on the heels until the timer ends. So we are not putting these toes down again until the end of the timer. So try and balance as much as you can. Again, where's that core? Hopefully it's engaged. When you feel like you're gonna lose it, you can shuffle around a little bit, then get that balance back. You can let the butt come out behind you. All right, we're not trying to stay fully up and down. All right, we're just trying to keep our toes off the ground, bringing the shins into this party. Super fun. Oh yeah, and core is really gonna help, but the main thing is just staying on those heels. All right, move around if you need to, but try to minimize it. Again, just trying to balance, hold that position, hold those quads. I meant to say core there, but you know what, it's okay. All right, my friends, good job. I highly recommend doing some calf stretching for yourselves, all right? I'm not going to be able to lead it myself, sadly, but definitely an important thing. Yay, indeed, indeed. Oh my God, water. Water, so important. So very important to everything about our lives. All right, what a great way to start our Tuesday. Feeling good, feeling worked out, feeling a little tired, but that's exactly how you should feel after an hour-long class. And yeah, just getting that this class is really all about the stamina, just about your ability to keep moving for an entire hour, all right? And it's not that we're trying to win a race in terms of speed. It's not that we're trying to win a competition in terms of power. It's, can we keep our bodies moving the entire time while going through a variety of different types of exercises? And you know, calf awareness is no joke to end on, because it feels a lot calmer, and obviously it's not having the same impact on our cardiovascular system, but our muscles are still working really intensely to maintain those balances. So it's not as chill of an ending to class as doing a stretching sequence is, okay? So just keep that in mind. You worked real hard, all right? And you got a lot of stuff done, and you should be very proud of yourselves, because I know I'm very proud of you. Woo! And now I need more water. Okay. Here we are in our second full week of March. We have a very uncomfortable anniversary coming up, March 13th, the day that will live in infamy in terms of the entire world shutting down, or at least the entire United States. It has been a hell of a year, my friends. And wow. I know how tiring it is. I know how tired we all are, you know. Even when we're doing okay, we're tired. And that's all right. We are going through a lot right now. And it's so easy to think that we're supposed to be managing things better. We're not supposed to be so tired. Things aren't that bad anyway. All you have to do is stay home. Like, why is this so hard? But you know what? There's absolutely a huge mental weight. The weight of the health fears and health risks of COVID, the weight of trying to support our communities while also missing our communities so desperately, the weight of lost touch, lost interactions with our friends and family, the weight of not being able to get support that we need in the ways that we are accustomed to getting it, through hugs and through gathering for parties and visiting. And, you know, anyone who had something really sad and dramatic happen to them in the last year knows how hard it is to grieve when you can't even grieve in the ways that you would like to, with being around friends and family. And so, sure, maybe on the surface, it should be simple to just stay indoors, but it has taken a toll, absolutely. And, you know, if you are feeling that, even on the days when you are fine, that's okay. I am too. Absolutely. So we're going to stick together, my friends. We're going to stick together. We're going to support each other. We're going to take care of our health by doing this class, reminding ourselves to hydrate and eat food and go on walks and check in on our loved ones. And we're making it through. We really are. All right. So there are 3 more classes this week. Tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Mountain Time is Jump Around, our weekly cardio class. Then Friday at 6 p.m. is Functional Home Fitness, where we do weight training using objects you can find around the house. And then Saturday morning at 9 a.m. is the weekend kickoff, which is our awesome strength and stamina focused bodyweight class. So be sure to come to any or all of those classes. They are all very fun with their own personalities. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All those handles will be in my end cards, but they are all variations on Blanche Case Fitness. My YouTube channel is where I upload all the VODs from these streams, so you never have to miss a class, even if you can't make the live cast. So definitely head over there and subscribe. If you want to help support me financially, I do have a coffee account for one-time donations, Blanche Case Fitness. Your donations are always very much appreciated. And if you want to help keep growing this channel, then you can follow or subscribe. Oh my God, we're Twitch affiliates. So please follow the channel, subscribe if you have the money to spare for ongoing support. Tell your friends, loved ones, coworkers, anyone looking for an awesome class. I stream 4 days a week. We have a great community here, and we've got lots of fun plans for 2021. So definitely keep on hanging out, my friends. All right, I'm gonna go shower. I'm gonna go drink a lot of water, eat some food, and I will see all of you back here tomorrow. Mwah. Have a great night.